Okay, so it's it's 2 past 1, so we should probably get started. Our speaker tonight for today is tonight. Our speaker today is Yu Yong Lee from the library. She has a lot of experience with this web scraping. I think she does it quite a lot. um, I should also mention that we are going to record this seminar. So if you have any objections to that, let me know, and I'll make sure you don't appear in it. And with that, I would give the word to Yu Yang, and she'll teach us all about how to scrape the web for information. So, Yu Yang.
Okay, so let me share my screen first. But in the meantime, I put a link to my slides in the chat. So can you see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, so hello everyone. So welcome to the web scraping workshop today. My name is Yu Yang Lee, and I'm the interim head information technology at the University of Ottawa Library. I would like to thank you to Jarno, who gave me an opportunity to run this workshop today, and thank you to all of you for attending and spending the next 2 hours with me virtually. So I hope that we can learn from each other. So as I mentioned, if you want to follow this workshop with my slides, I put the URL to the slides in the chat. So maybe I'm going to give you 1 or 2 minutes to get the slides if you want. Then maybe let me know in the participants with yes sign once you got the slides. Jarno, can you tell me, because I can really see the participant or chat list once I share my screen.
Oh yeah, sure.
So everything is okay. So everyone got the slides
Yeah, I
URL.
see some yeses and I see 0 no's. So I'm
Okay.
guessing that's good.
Okay. So before getting started, I would like to share with you what this workshop is about. So this workshop is about scraping specific elements of data from a website or web page, not really about crawling an entire website. And this workshop is about using tools already developed for us instead of creating our own scraper or crawler. And this workshop is for beginners, so we don't really cover advanced web scraping techniques today. And I'm going to introduce basically 3 approaches at a beginner level. In addition, this workshop is not about Python or R programming language, so we don't really cover its syntax in detail, but more about how to use them for web scraping purpose. So this is a brief schedule for the next 2 hours. So I will cover first the overview of the workshop and web scraping with the basic rules of HTML and CSS, which are the critical part of the web scraping. Then I will start with the easy approach with Google Sheet to advanced approach with Python and R. There will be hands-on activity in a group that Jarno and I are going to assign you randomly up to 4 people per group using Zoom's breakout room function, because this is a big group and oftentimes we really learn a lot when we do it together. Then I would like to wrap up this workshop with a summary of what we've done today. These are the specific learning outcomes for today's workshop. So you will learn basic understanding of web scraping and some of the ethical and legal challenge around it. You will also learn basic web syntax and how it is used for web scraping. Then you will learn 3 approaches and tools with Google Sheets, Python, and R. So if this is not what you expected from this workshop, or if you're already familiar with this might not be for you, and this might be a good time to change your mind. So do you have any questions? Jarno, can you let me know if anyone has a question, please?
Yeah, I'm monitoring the chat. No worries.
Yeah. So I guess no questions so far.
Nope.
Okay. Whenever I run a workshop, I always want to get to know you, such as your name and why you want to take the workshop, as well as your expectation. But since this is online and a little bit of big group, we can really introduce ourselves unfortunately. So instead, I'm going to ask you a few questions in the poll. Yarno, can you pull the
Yeah, should be up now.
Yeah. So can you just answer? I think there are 7 questions. Initially, we wanted to ask you separately, but it is our first time to use a pool, so we put every questions into one pool. So
You can just say it's my fault because that's what it
no,
was.
it's not your fault. It's my fault too. I have to be really specified and clear. So sorry about that.
Yeah, so the responses are coming in at 30% now. Yep. At 60% now. It's going pretty fast.
Yeah.
So can you see the results actually, Yuyo?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I think it's 87%, so I'm gonna end all.
Okay.
But it seems like it's a little bit of a mix in terms of experience, like the prior experience, and then like the knowledge and skills of the specific tools or programming language. But I think most of the people, I think the majority is they've never done any web scraping, and they've never used any tool. So this is really good to know, because this workshop is really designed for that particular audience. So I'm gonna just close the poll. So about me, again, thank you for your participation. About me, I have been interested in this topic since 2015, because oftentimes we talk a lot about data analysis and data visualization, but less about getting data. But I do believe that if we don't get data, obviously we can't really analyze and visualize them. And these days, I do believe that the web is the source of data. So I've tried to learn different web scraping tools and techniques since then. And today I will share some of the easy tools and techniques with examples and hands-on activity.
So I got our first question already.
Yeah.
um, so this is a question from Arya.
Mhm.
I always had a fundamental question that found challenging to generalize a scraping technique given the unlimited variety of websites. Is it possible to generalize a program that is intelligent to work with any website?
It is possible, but actually this workshop is not really designed for that particular purpose. And then you need a little advanced, like the search. So I'm not sure which language you're going to use to do that, but you may need a little advanced knowledge in that particular language, but also the web syntax. Does
I
that
think
answer your questions?
I'm guessing yes. Oh,
Okay.
sorry, it says, can you give me directions, please?
For now,
I think so.
um, can you email me with the particular like the website or web page that you want to do that, and then what language you want to use? Because based on that, the strategy or direction could be really different, and there are so many ways to do that. So
Thanks.
okay. So I'd like to start with why we need web scraping. So as we all know that the web has become a source of data for daily activities and scholarly research. So I read a book, and then if you attend some of my workshops before, I mentioned this book so many times. So Everybody Lies, written by economist Stephen Davidowitz, and I was really fascinated by how we collect data from the web to conduct his study. So there is also another study that Google outperformed its prediction on influenza than Center for Disease Control and Prevention because Google used keywords from live search while CDC used data collected from the hospital, which were obviously 1 or 2 days delayed. In addition, there are tons of data on the web generated daily. That means it's really hard to manually process them. So therefore, some of the websites provide API, application programming interface to provide access to their data, but still not all of them. Although API is the most preferable way to pull data from the websites or other web application, web scraping is an alternative and effective way to download, parse, and organize a large amount of data from the web in an automated manner. So I would like to share some of the use cases that I apply web scraping. So the first project was to migrate metadata from our in-house web-based application where there was neither API nor tools to extract data to open journal systems. It could be really tedious to manually copy and paste for about 100 articles. So I developed a web scraping script to automatically download metadata from the web and transform to XML file. If you are interested, there is a link. And the other project was that my colleague Cecilia, she was interested in how space on campus were used for events to better plan and promote the library events. So at U Ottawa, there is a campus-wide online calendar based on Drupal, but again, there was no API to extract data. So I developed a web scraping script to download metadata about the events, such as like the date, time, location to analyze and visualize them. So I do believe that there are tons of potential for web scraping for our daily work, but also research. So what is web scraping? There are many definitions of web scraping, but in my opinion, it is really an automated process to extract and parse data from the web and store them in a structured way. So web scraping is great and getting better and better thanks to lots of communities effort through the open source technology, but there are also drawbacks. So web scraping is not really perfect and it might not work well in some of the cases. So for example, web scraping is fundamentally designed to handle simple websites known as static web scraping. If the websites follow sort of the traditional HTML coding practice like numeric paginations, web scraping is really a great tool to download data from the web. However, these days, a lot of modern websites adapt dynamic content strategy like pulling content from databases or third-party application, which is not really suited for simple web scraping techniques. In addition, web scraping enables you to download quite large amount of data in an automated way, but it can handle large scale like millions of records at a time. The other one, since the web changes frequently with its updates in terms of front end or back end, it may not work anymore in the future, although it worked really well in the past. So lastly, simply it could be prohibited and blocked by robot text file by default. So there is really no way to get data. Not only weakness of web scraping itself, but also there are ethical and legal issues. So technically in Canada, web scraping for internal system is illegal, especially when you download data for financial benefits. So for example, the Mongo House, which was a website providing free information about sold price of the properties in the Toronto area. So they accessed and copy and redistributed data collected from the internal system of the Toronto Real Estate Board, which is fees-based and lock-in system just among real estate members. In 2019, the Federal Court of Canada has issued against Mongo House and affirmed that the Toronto Real Estate Board's right to protect its data. But what if you collect data from the public web page or public website for research purpose? It is still a gray area and debatable in Canada. I heard that you could conduct research, but you can't really share your data sets, while some people said that basically it is not allowed. So there is really no clear answer, to be honest. So I don't want you in trouble. So rule of thumb, so always check the terms of service or robots text file if available. Oftentimes they tell you what you can and you can't do regarding web scraping. In addition, when you run your web scraping tool, just be gentle, which I mean is don't request many things at a time to the website because they may not have a capacity to handle a lot of traffic at the same time. So if you are still not, sorry,
Oh,
if you
go
are
ahead.
still not sure, then contact the web owner and simply ask them if web scraping is okay for them.
So I have a question here in the
Mhm.
chat. So Fabrizio is asking, why is it illegal? If the data are available for download, why does it matter how I download them?
And because some of the websites said they're like this, so I'm not expert in copyright, but certain websites clearly claim that all of the web content belong to like them. So that means like technically it's really their property. So downloading and then using them, we have to really make sure whether it's okay with them in a copyright perspective. But if the website said that like if they use like the Creative Commons license, that's easier because we know what we can do with the web content in their website. But if they put like the C copyright, it's a little bit tricky.
I see also a message from Chantal.
Mhm.
Federal court makes clear website scraping is illegal, and says a link to a Canadian
Mhm.
lawyer magazine. And I see a question from Katja. It's like photocopying rules, no?
What do you mean photocopy rules?
I think when you have books that you use in your teaching, yeah, you cannot.
For teaching, yes, but what I mean here is really like if you reuse data set for other purpose, other than the research, but again, like these days we encourage researchers to share data sets, but technically the data set they got from the website, it's not really theirs. So that's what I mean. Like we really need to make sure whether you have a right to share the data set that you got from the website with the website owner.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, again, like it's really a gray area I found, to be honest. So
Yeah, I'll bet.
and then my knowledge in Canadian, especially in Canadian copyright, is really limited. So if you want to know more, then I can double check with my colleagues, who is our copyright service librarian. So
Yeah, see, Felicity just put another link in the chat about asserting the ownership of data.
Yeah,
Ownership of data. So.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Any
think that's
other?
all the questions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your questions. So, so that's kind of the overview of the web scraping in a nutshell. So the second part, I'm going to introduce sort of the fundamental of HTML and CSS from the perspectives of web scraping. As I saw in the poll, I think some of you already know HTML and CSS, but in the majority in our workshops today are not. So maybe some of you that might be repetitive, but please be mindful. We will learn basically how to use web browsers to display the source code of web pages and how to inspect and extract specific HTML elements. So when we use a web browser like Google Chrome, Firefox to find information on the web, technically we use HTML, which is a markup language for presenting content on the web. HTML allows defining the parts of a document that need to be displayed, for example, as headline, or that parts that contain links, or the part that should be organized as table, and numerous other formats. So that's really the HTML in a nutshell. And then CSS, it defines the look and feel of the HTML document to contour presentation, like the formatting and layout, while JavaScript is really used to handle the behavior of different elements in the HTML content. So today we mainly focus on HTML and CSS in terms of structures and attributes because JavaScript requires a little bit of advanced techniques. So again, some of you already know this, but the concepts of text, elements, and attributes are important. So I will briefly go through them. So the web browser interprets an HTML document by tags, which are sort of name brace that enclose content and define its structure functions. So for example, P in the slide is the paragraph tag in HTML. The combination of opening tag and content and then closing tag is really called the element. So when you hear an HTML element, this is a basic structure. So the attribute, I think I can color. Okay. So the attributes here, so provide additional information about HTML elements. So as you can see here in this example, attributes are always placed within the here opening tag right after the tag name, which is P here. And they enable the specification of options for how the content of a tag should be handled. So this paragraph tag has a class whose name is nice. So again, you don't really need to know HTML in detail, but this basic understanding will be really helpful when you construct queries for web scraping. So the other important concept is tree structure. So as you can see here, between HTML tags, there are several tags like head, body, they do have open and closing tag. And then again, inside of the body tag, there are several nested tags such as H1, so the heading one, and then div, and then the A, which is anchor or hyperlink. So a good way to describe the multiple layers of an HTML document is the tree analogy. So elements need to be strictly nested within each other in a well-formed and valid HTML file. In other words, pair of opening and closing tag has to be completely enclosed by another pair of tags. So you have to have opening and then closing tag always. I mean, there are a few exceptions, but again, we are not going to cover them here. And then you have H1 opening and closing, and then same thing, opening div and closing div section. So how to extract values or data from the HTML document? There are 3 standard procedures. So via Xpath queries, CSS selectors, or regular expressions. So this workshop focused on combination of Xpath and CSS selectors because it works well in most cases, but regular expressions could be applied especially when an HTML document is really a malform or simply there is no structure, but other than that, Xpath is really most preferable way to do that. So how tag, elements, attributes, and tree structures are used for Xpath. So Xpath allows us to select nodes or compute values from an XML or HTML document as it is designed to navigate through elements and attributes in the 3 structures. So the node name is basically the name of the HTML text like div, table, span, tr, td, h1. So the location path, which is just one slash. So the location path allow us to specify the path from the HTML document to the element that we want to select in the tree structure. So in general, the location path has location steps separated by slash. So for example, slash HTML, that meant start from the beginning of the HTML document or HTML element. And then under there, look for body element slash div. That means, again, like under body, find out div underneath the body element. However, we usually don't know the exact path because like, as you will see in the next slide, well, in the next few slides, it's really, the path is really long and we don't really care about the full explicit node by node path. We just really care about the nodes with a given name. So for example, if you put like the double slash div, that means like just look in the whole tree in the HTML document and starting from the root of the tree and select only those nodes whose name match div. So that's the one we really most use. And then also we can really specify an element with attributes name. So for example, like we just want to find the div section, but particularly the div section who has a class name as class underscore name. So we can really specify the particular node name among the other one. So, and also you can really choose, you can really choose the first or last or the some ordered element as well. So in order to do that, you can specify, so let's say double slash the find UL section or UL HTML element, and underneath find out those are the listed element, but just to select the first one. And then you can also, you can grab the text around the anchor element. So just like the double slash A and then slash and text, that means just like this, select the text around the A anchor element. So this is a really brief overview of the Xpath that you need to know for today's workshop. Other than that, like, I mean, there are tons, but this is really enough. But if you want to know more about it, I put a link here so you can find their cheat sheet. So this is a really very simple example to extract data using Xpath queries. So let's say if you want to grab content around H1 tag, and then as you can see, we have two H1. So here and here.
Oh,
So
sorry,
if,
Judo.
yeah,
I see a question in the chat. Andre is asking around or within. Not entirely sure what that.
sorry.
Yeah, the question in the chat is around or within regarding A and then closing A.
So here,
I think
let me
so.
see
Oh yeah,
the,
here.
how can I,
Andre, you
yeah.
should be able to unmute yourself, I think, if you want to ask it in voice.
Yeah, I just was wondering whether text will extract what's between A and closing A,
Mm-hmm.
or some other text.
So, okay, thank you. So the text here is really particularly for the around a element, but the other one I'm going to explain here. But like if you want to grab, so this is a first heading, then you don't. I mean, you can put a text, but you don't really need to. For A, yes. Or well, you. I mean, for A2, depending on the structure, sometimes it is needed, but mostly it is not. But just in case, because this is a beginner, so I always say like just put the text just to make sure. But sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. But like H1, you don't really need it.
Okay, I got it in the text.
So that's all for now.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, so here, so if you want to grab all the H1, so like the text around the H1 element, so you can just say like double slash. That means like anything in the document find out H1. So since we have only two H1, you don't really need this. You can just say H1 and that will work. But sometimes like they do have really particular ID name or class name, and like you can specify their ID and then their name is my heading. That's totally fine as well. But let's say if you just want to grab this is a second heading only, as you can see here, this is the first H1 and this is the second H1. So you can say like double slash find out H1, but the second element only. Then like it will return this is a second heading. So let's say if you want to grab this is a paragraph, so then like you can do again like the double slash, so find from the root anything div, and then whose class name is my div. Underneath, which is a slash, find out p, and whose class name is my para. Then it will return this is a paragraph. And then same thing with the this is a link. So if you want to grab the content around this is a link, then like you can just put double slash a or double slash a slash because it's under there and then text. So the thing I want to really highlight, so there are really several ways to construct your queries depending on the context. So if you come up with other ways, that's totally okay too. This, I mean, what I show you here, it's not really the only answer. There are so many different ways that you can construct your queries.
So I have another question.
Mhm.
What if you want to grab the URL in the href tag?
So you have to use the href specifically. So there is a way to do that. I think it's one of the exercise or one of the demo that I'm going to show you later.
Okay.
But that's a good question.
That's all the questions.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, again, like there are many tools, so you don't really need to write down your query manually either. So I'm going to show you the, again, like some of you may already know this, but again, I'd like to quickly show you how to use the developer tools in the browser and find the Xpath. So you don't really need to query manually. So okay, so I'm using Google Chrome. So if you see here a 3 dot, and then there is a more tools. And then if you go to the developer tools, then you will see the elements. And then let's say I want to grab how to use Omni. So here there is a little icon, select an element in the page to inspect it. So click here, and then I'm gonna just click here, and then it brings me to the element in the HTML document. So here is how to use Omni. Then if you right click, there is a copy, and then you can see here, copy Xpath. That's the shortened version with a double slash. But if you want to see a full Xpath, then like you can click the copy full Xpath. And then for the Firefox, I think they do there. I think you can click also the inspector tools like the Google Chrome, and then there is a developer tools as well. And then same thing, like they provide the select the little icon to select and inspect using a tool. And then they also provide the copy or Xpath or the full Xpath. So any questions?
No, chat is all clear.
Okay, so use the tools. Again, it's really easy. So the first activity, so go to, I'm gonna go to the University of Ottawa coronavirus website, and there is the mitigating the pandemic U Ottawa response to COVID-19. So what I want you to do is so just find out the first article title. So in order to grab why U Ottawa was right for me, double colon reflections of a COVID graduate. So so in order to grab that one, find your Xpath or your queries using the developer tools. So maybe I think the 5 minutes is enough. So you will be assigned randomly to a group in breakout room, and I would like you to find Xpath using a web browser tool, again, just to find this first article. So Jarno, can you do that? The breakout room?
Yep. Let's see. We need 11 of them. Okay, I'm going to put everyone in breakout rooms now, and we'll return to the main room in 5 minutes.
Yes. So we will see maybe in 1:46.
Okay. thought Zoom was supposed to do it automatically. It's that's weird. I opened the breakout rooms, but
Okay.
I see that most people have not joined.
Okay.
Honestly.
I mean, they can do themselves as well. So
Let's see, did anybody get in the rooms? No. Okay, I'm doing something wrong here.
because I can really see it.
Yeah. Like I create 11 breakout rooms and then I say assign automatically. Oh, wait, I think that did. Okay, everybody's in the room now. It's just
Okay.
us here.
Okay. I think I'm gonna join the our link in other computer because I can really see. I mean, when you do the workshop, I can really see both at the same time.
Yeah, that's difficult. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
You invite me to join the breakout room 1.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a second. I can really.
Yeah, I thought there was a way to force join people, but I don't see it.
I think 1 more minute.
Sure. Yeah, you're also supposed to set timers for these rooms, but I didn't see that either. It's weird.
Yeah, I think the time up.
Okay, I'll close the rooms and I'll come back here. Oh, all breakout rooms will close in 60 seconds. So that's where the timer is.
I guess everyone is in the main room, right?
And most of them still in the rooms.
Okay. So let me know when they're back.
Yeah, should be 10 more seconds. Okay, here they come.
Okay. So how was your first like the group exercise? So oops. So this is the one. So the first one is really the full explicit XPath from the root of the HTML document. And then second one is really the shortened version. Oh, we can do not screen sharing.
Oh, that's not possible in breakout rooms? Huh. That's not on one of the options I have.
Oh, I think you have to allow it. Oh, okay. Yarner, can you allow them to do that?
I'm looking at the settings for the breakout rooms. I
Okay.
don't see that.
Okay, so in Firefox, you only get full XPath from the inspector. Okay. So so everyone got this, either one of them. Okay, good. So again, that's really the nutshell of the XPath query, and it's really important when you actually use the tool that I'm going to show you in the next few slides. So the first one, so let's play with the first tool, which is Google Sheets. Personally, I really like this approach because it's really easy to use, and some parts like parsing and storing data are already done for you. So you don't really need to specify those steps in the scripts. So we will learn basically one function provided by Google Sheets for web scraping purpose. So the function is called import XML, and it has only two parameters, which are the URL of the page that you want to examine, and the other one is the Xpath query to extract data from the URL. So in general, the first step is to identify information that is nested in the HTML document and put syntax in the Google Sheet. So the import XML function imports data from URL in your Xpath query that you did your exercise and save them in the Google Sheet. So that's really the simplified mechanism to describe web scraping with the import XML function. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use it. So please don't really edit directly in this document. So if you want to do along the way, please create your own copy first. So there is a file and then make a copy. So so please don't edit really anything in this document, please. So can you create your own copy? And then I think Yarno will share the URL in the document.
Yeah, I put the URL in the chat.
Yeah. So the website that I'm interested is the Canadian Archive of Women in STEM. And as you can see, we have a list of all the archival fonts of women in STEM across the Canada. So we have a fonts title, hosting institution, and its description and STEM field. And the reason why I was interested because I would like to because what I wanted to do was to put this information to Wikidata, but instead of copy and paste individually, I just want to automatically download from the website, and then to see if some of them have already in Wikidata. So that's kind of my first intention. And then I chose Google Sheet because this is really a simple website. There was really no dynamic anything, things like that. So I thought that Google Sheet was ideal. So here I want to grab fonts, title, hosting institution, description, and stem fields. Not just only one row, I really want to grab all of them. And then first, what we need to do is really define paths for its elements in the document. So we can examine in the developer tools how they are written in HTML document. And then select, I just want to see. So they are under div, and then their class name is field item even, which is sort of the, but I think that they do have field item even for everything. And then if I see here, okay, they're under another div section. The class name is field items. And then here, another thing here, another div section, so I can reuse them as well. But I just want to double check this structure is only for the Margaret M. Alma fonts or other thing as well. So I'm gonna double check the second one if they are structured in the same way. And then I see they are structured in the same way. Okay, so they are under field name, title field, this class name, and then and then again underneath there is another div whose class name is field item, and then same. So they are basically written in a same structure. So what I'm going to do, so I'm gonna put here Xpath query 1, which I'm gonna use my for font title. So I'm gonna put div. Oh, can you see my screen though?
Yeah, I can see your
Okay.
screen.
I mean, do you want me to zoom in or?
It looks okay for me.
Okay.
I mean, Zoom makes it full screen by default.
Okay. So, and then I'm gonna use class, and then I think I'm gonna just copy and paste its class name here. And then slash, there is another div underneath this one. And then its class name is field items. Slash, and then there is the finer div that we are interested. And then the reason why I put the other two, because I'm not sure how many div sections whose name call field item even. So just to be clear, it's better to put like the structure like underneath this is this one, things like that. So the class is, I think, field item even. So I'm gonna copy. Okay, I don't think that there is any spelling error. Okay. Then what you need to do here, equal sign as usual. So import XML. And then I'm gonna put the URL first. So I put already URL here. So I5, and then my Xpath query is here. And then close. And then I got a list of the font's title automatically. So I think there are 4 hundreds something, and then I got all of them just in one import XML function. So do you have any questions so far about this?
Yeah, I see a question in the chat. Can we export the Xpath from the inspector, or do we always have to copy it out and type it out?
It's up to you. Sometimes I prefer my own way because that's really clear, but sometimes it's not really working, but we can, because if you click this one and then copy Xpath, I think you will get only, so I'm gonna just put the Xpath query here. And then I'm pretty sure you will get only the one that you select. So same URL. Yeah, because you get only the one that you select from the web browser. But oftentimes, what we are really interested in is really to get all of them in as much as possible, right? Like instead of doing this all over. So, but the thing that you can really get the hint from the structure. So that's really one drawback using the web browser tool, because they select a very specific element and then you will get only that one. So that's why a little knowledge about HTML and CSS are really helpful. That way you can construct really your own queries to get all of them at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
And then same thing for hosting institutions. So I'm gonna select the hosting institution. And then again, they are the same pattern. I think, again, this is really well designed for the Drupal U web team because all is really well structured. So that way we can really clearly see how it is. So same thing, like they're under like the field, this one and this class name and this. So we can use exactly same pattern like here. So I'm gonna just copy and paste, but they changed the name here, field name, U Orawa Women Organization. So I'm gonna change women. And then field item same, and then field item even. Okay, then same thing here, equal sign import XML. And then the first parameter is URL. So you can put the URL here. And then your query. Oops, there is the error. So div class, oh, there we go. There's another error. Okay, so div class field name, URL organization.
Yeah, I think there's like a double quotation mark between class and field at the beginning.
Oh, there we go. Always something like this. Oh,
Yeah,
why
they're
it's
really tiny.
automatically? Oh yeah. Then there you go. You got the hosting institution. So it's really normal. All the time there is like the single quote, double quotation mark, things like that. So
there's a question in the chat actually.
Yeah.
Or, I couldn't follow how you structured your XPath query.
Okay, so here, so what we are interested is really the hosting institution's name. So the first way I did, so I choose this one and then I click the Trinity Western University. And then it brought me to the HTML element in the file. So here it is. But as you can see here, it's around the div section whose class name is field-item even. But since we have so many div class name, which is field item even, we can really just put this one, because if we just put field item even, that means like we will grab all the information, not just the hosting institution. But when I look up, this div section is underneath another div section whose class name is field-items. But again, same problem. There are so many div sections above whose class name is field-items. So when I look up again, there is another div and its class name is field this. They're all same, but except here, it's really the unique value just for the hosting institution. So that's why I use this one. So I use like the 3 paths, so the /div, and then first it's whose class name is this long one, and then underneath with a slash, the path, another div whose class name is field item, another slash, which indicate that this is under this div section, and then its class name is field-item even. And then, yes, in the chat, I also put the answer right after. So if you are interested, I put all the Xpath query already here. So if you want to know, then like you can look at the answer that I already provided. So the other also the same structure. So do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, I see a question just appeared from Andre. So if there's an error in a document, for example, one font is missing one field, the result will be shifted up?
Yes.
Okay, that's clear.
But I think that will yes, that will be shift. Unfortunately, yeah. But usually, but here, like for example, but I think they're really good. I think again, like they're getting better and better. So for example, some of the stem fields, they do have more than one, then like they automatically put like right next. So like they have two. So for example, this Dr. Jess Grayfall, they do have two stem fields, and automatically they split them. Like one is medicine and one surgery right next. So. Okay, so it's your time to do the exercise. So I chose the travel advice and advisory Canadian website. So again, go to the exercise 3 documents. Please don't edit anything directly in this document. Again, please create your own copy. And then the website is here. So what I want you to do that, just grab a list of destination advisory, whether we can travel or not, and then the last updated information. So like the description, advisory, and last updated. So again, first find the path for its element in the document, and then write your path in the Xpath query that I provided here, and then put import XML syntax. And then again, sometimes it's my learning style, but sometimes I learn a lot when I have an answer. So if you want to know in advance, then I put the answer right next tab as well. So maybe can we put in a breakout room for 10 minutes maybe?
Yeah, sure. I'll just recreate them because some people left. Let's see. So let's you do recreate. And 10 minutes you said, right?
Yeah. And then if you prefer, do it yourself as well. But since it's a big group, I thought that the doing together, that's way beneficial for all of us. So it's up to you.
Okay. I'll start the breakout rooms. Hey, yeah, sorry for kicking you in a breakout room. You're muted. Oh, you're young? You're still muted.
For some reason, other people really can share their screen. Do you know why?
No, I tried looking it up
Okay.
and I don't see that setting anywhere. I'm very
Okay.
confused.
Okay. Okay. So, how was your exercise? Like, so far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and then just in general, do you like really the Google Sheet? It's really easy, right?
Yeah, interesting.
Mhm. Okay. So that's really the first technique. So the second one is really the with the Python. So again, it's a little bit complicated than Google Sheet for sure, but you will learn how to download, parse, extract, and save data using Python and Google Code Lab. And I'm gonna provide really the syntax already. So just in a nutshell, Python is one of the most popular and general purpose programming language covering from web development to machine learning. So compared to other programming languages, I found that it is really easy, intuitive, and very user-friendly.
Oh, sorry,
So
Yu.
yeah.
Did you mean to share your screen again? Because I think the breakout room stopped it.
Oh, okay. So I didn't share my screen. Okay. Give me a second. Oh, I need to go to the, okay. Share screen, share. Can you see my screen then?
Yep, that works.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So for the Python environment, I chose Google Collaborative, which is a free cloud-based Jupyter Notebook environment. So from my experience, one of the challenging part when it comes to Python is really versioning, because Python has several versions and sometimes it causes some compatibility issue. So we will use Google Code Lab with Python version 3. So these are the most used Python libraries for web scraping. And today we will use the first two libraries, so request and beautiful soup. So the request library enables you to send a HTTP request to the URL of the web page that you want to access. Then the server responds to the request by returning that HTML content of the web page that we saw using the developer tools. But it doesn't really parse data, so we need beautiful soup library which parse to create a nested that tree structure of the HTML data and navigate the parse tree that we created. So the other one is XML. LXML is another parser library, and Selenium does handle JavaScript, and Scrappy is really the framework for web scraping, but these require a bit of advanced knowledge for Python, so we don't really cover them today. So in a nutshell, we use request and beautiful soup to download, parse, and extract data, and pandas and CSV libraries to save it. So compared to Google Sheet, which you just need that one import XML function, but now you need more than just one function. So in the beautiful soup library, there are many functions, but we mainly focus on these four. So find underscore all, that means like with a node name, that means find all links, because I put A here in the as an example, in the documents in a list form. Find title, that means find the first title that you find in the document. Get href, like get the href attribute value from element on the page, and then the element text, that means retrieve text associated with that element. And then we're going to see in the example. So again, please don't edit directly in this document. So always create your own copy first. So in order to create your own copy, so here click File, and then you can see save a copy in Drive, and then it will create a copy version. So please do it so. And then I put sort of the step-by-step guideline in this document as well. So if there is anything that you understand today, then like you can go back to the this demo document and read through. But still, if you don't understand anything or there is something that's not really clear, please email me after this workshop as well. I'm really happy to help and discuss further after this workshop as well. So again, first step is really like we really need to extract the element. So in order to do that in Python, we have to import or install the required or necessary libraries. And then as I mentioned, we're going to use those two. One is request and beautiful soup. So in order to do that, we use the import function. So import request. And from BS4, import beautiful soup. That means like we're gonna use the BS4 from the beautiful soup library. Then you can just click here, the run sign, and just run it. And then it does for you. It does work for you. So that means if you see numbers, sign number 1, that means it ran. So we import the necessary library in order to do the web scraping in Python. And then the second step, so we have to specify the URL that we are interested. So I'm gonna use the Canadian Archive of Women in STEM web page, like the Google Sheet. So I'm gonna put its URL here. So I'm gonna create the URL variable and I assign its URL here. So URL equals sign, then the URL name. Then I need to connect to the URL and download the document. So one way to do this, so I'm gonna create a variable called response, and that is equal to, I'm gonna use the request.get function from request library and put the URL that I assign above, and then just response. So if I run, I got 200 signed. That means we got it. Everything went okay. Then we have to parse the HTML file. So I'm gonna use the beautiful soup function. So I'm gonna create another variable called soup that's equal to beautiful soup and then response that we got from here, dot text, and then HTML parser. So that means we're gonna parse the HTML and save to beautiful soup object. So if I run here, so we got the HTML file. Again, in Google Sheet, you don't really see this sort of the behind the scene, but if you use like the advanced programming language, like you have to follow certain step like that I demonstrate here. So now we have to find the syntax. So first, so I'm gonna do the first element only, so the Margaret M. Alman fonts. So I'm gonna use soup.find. So that's the function that I showed you before. And then I'm gonna find the div section. And I'm gonna use the attribute whose class name is field, field name, title field, field type text. So basically, this one. So the field name, title, field type, text. So I'm gonna put here and then run, and then I'm gonna grab text. So that means I just got the first title of the archiver font from the website. But again, I want to grab all of them, not just the one element. So I'm gonna save them as a list. So that means fonts title text for all fonts title, not just the first one. So that means soup.find all. That means I'm gonna find all the fonts title who has the class name as this. So if I run, then I got all the fonts list. So exactly same thing like the Google Sheet, but more complicated. And the same thing for host, like the hosting institution. So same structure, save as list. And the same thing for the description. So I got all the description. And then same thing for the stem field as well. Then like now we have all of them separately. So we have to put them all together, maybe for visualization or data analysis in the next step. Like I need to really export to CSV. So I'm gonna use the Panda, which is another Python library. So I'm gonna import the Panda, and then I'm gonna put separate lists to create just one Excel file called like the data frame in Python. So now I have here title, hosting, description, and stem field that we saw in Google Sheet. And then if you want, you can save this as CSV and then download. So I got the woman stem CSV file. So if I open, so you see title, hosting, and description, and then stem, the one that you saw in Google Sheet. So that's really in a nutshell for Python. Do you have any questions? Okay, so the next one is really an exercise for you. So if you see, like I put a step-by-step guideline here, and then so I indicate like where you need to put your own code that I just showed you in my demonstration. So like first you need to import the necessary libraries, and then you need to set the URL and then get that URL, and then you need to parse the HTML file and then extract faculty. And again, like if you want to see how I did, so I provide the answer in another Google Code Lab here. So you can see how I did as well. But again, please don't edit anything in the directly in this document. So please create your own copy first. So maybe we can give 10 minutes for this.
Yeah, sure. Let's see. I need to recreate. So it's okay if I shove you in a breakout room again?
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
How was the exercise? Did you do different than the answer that I provided here?
What do you mean different?
I mean, so I provided answer here already. Maybe you came up with differently than the code I provided here. That's what I meant.
Okay. I didn't notice because I make a copy of your notebook.
Oh, okay. So here, so this is the exercise sheet. So I didn't really provide any code inside, just let you to do that. But the answer is here. So okay, good. Yes. Again, the beauty of this web scraping, there are so many different ways to do that based on your context. So again, like this is just a guideline that I came up with, but if yours work, then that's totally fine as well. So there is no one answer. Okay, so the final one is the with R. So the last approach is to use R, and this is personally really my go-to language for web scraping, without really any particular reason. It's just my personal preference, and I just really love R. So, oops. So again, like Python, we're gonna learn how to use R for web scraping. R Studio is the most famous integrated development environment for R, but for this workshop, we are gonna use CodeLab as well because CodeLab provide a way to use R even in Jupyter Notebook environment. But if you already use R or R Studio, you can do exactly same thing in there as well. So a little
So, sorry, you. As a question in the chat, how does Colab know it's Python or R code?
I'm gonna show you how to do that as well.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, R is a language and environment for basically statistical computing and graphics. But again, like Python, the community is really amazing. So they provide lots of open source modules and library to use R as well. So like Python, R also has multiple packages for web scraping, but I'm going to cover only R crawler, particularly only one function from this package, but they do have a lot of other library and functions. And if you want to know more about them, I put a link to its library so you can look into later, or if you have any questions after this workshop, please let me know. So the one function that we are going to use is content scraper. And then the content scraper has different parameters. So we have to put URL or X. So we have to put obviously URL, but you can put either Xpath pattern, CS pattern. So you can choose either of them. And then pattern's name, how you're going to call them. As data frame, whether you want to display the data that you got as data frame, many per pattern, that means you want to get only one item or multiple items. So that's really, I really like this function personally. So for demo, I'm gonna use the Canadian National Digital Heritage Index. So again, please don't edit directly in this document. Always copy, create your own copy first. So because I'm from the library, let me, oops. I really want to introduce you to the Canadian National Heritage Index, but that's not the website. Oops. So there is a portal where you can find all the Canadian and digitized heritage collection, which is really cool. So if you're a humanity scholar, it's a really good portal. So what I want is really, I want to grab like the list, like the collection title, hosting institution, and then again, it's description, maybe keywords. So in order to do that, Jupyter Notebook is really designed for Python originally, but again, like because of a lot of open source community effort, we can really run R in CodeLab, which is really great. So in order to do that, we have to let CodeLab know that this is R. So you have to load R in CodeLab. So that's really the syntax, and I'm not gonna cover this in detail because it's really the defined way. So you can really copy and paste from internet. So I'm gonna loading that this is R. And then like the Python, we have to install and import the R package. So as I mentioned, I'm gonna use R crawler, but also data.table. So again, like I have to import and then install them. So one question, so how do we let CodeLab know this is R? So you have just to put the pipe operator, so to pipe operator and R, that means this is like I'm going to run R code, not Python. So this is the way to do so. And then same thing like our syntax, you have to install the package and then load. And then that's really the typical R syntax. So nothing is really new for just the web scraping purpose. So it's loading. Sometimes it's slow. Anyone use R in CodeLab before while we are waiting? No one? Yeah, but in R, yes. So RStudio, right? I think RStudio wanted to develop the web browser interface like the Jupyter Notebook, but they've discussed this like for 3 years or something like that, but I don't still see one. But if you see something, please let me know. Yeah.
I mean, the RStudio Online works pretty well, right?
Yeah. R with Google Sheet, that part I don't know. I don't know yet, but I can look into for you. Telling CodeLab, which is a Jupyter Notebook environment, that I'm going to run R, not really the Python. Okay, so it's done. So we load the pack. So we install and we load those packages. So you can see all the detailed information here. And then same thing, we are gonna set the URL. So again, like we have to indicate that like we're going to run R code. So double pipe R. And then the URL list. So as you can see here, if you see the structure of this website, they do have a main URL here, and then they use the pagination. That means this is the page 0. And then if you go to number 2, but actually that means the page 1 here. So as you can see, page 1. And then if you go to the page 3 for human eyes, but actually that's page 2 for a computer. So instead of like using like the URL page 0, then URL page 1 and 2, there is a way to combine all page number really in one way. So like I'm gonna put like the X and then assign 0.2, that means from 0 to 2. And then I'm gonna just attach that number to the main URL. So this is the URL, but I'm gonna paste 0, 1, 2 separate by the blank. So if I run this code, so you see I got like 1, so page 0, page 1, and page 2. Then now we have to, again, like the extract data element from the URL list. So again, same thing, content scraper, that's the function that we are gonna use. And then my URL is equal to URL list from, so this one and this one and that one. So that's a list of my URL. And then the pattern, so same thing, I'm gonna use the developer tools and then select the content. And then based on this information, I'm gonna construct my own Xpath queries, or you can copy and paste from the one that I showed you before as well. So like I already construct my own queries for the title, institution, and keywords. And I'm gonna call them title, institution, and keywords. And many per potential, that means like not just only one, I'm grab all of them. So if I do that, so 1, 2, 3, then now, yes, I got all of, so not just, so from page 1, I got all title, institution, and keywords. And then from page 2, I got all title, institutions, and keyword. And then from page 3, I got all title, institutions, and keyword. Then I'm gonna save in the data frame. So now I save them as like the data. Again, it doesn't look like the data frame, but it is. And then same thing, like if I want, I'm gonna export to CSV, the same step. And then the other part is really just to demonstrate what you can do with the data that you got from the internet. So like there is like the data wrangling components. So I ran before the workshop. So like you can see like the word visualization, you can really count which word you use most, things like that as well. So since we have only 4 minutes left, there is an exercise link, but I think you can do yourself after this workshop. And I also provide the answer already. So if you want to look at how I did, there is an answer right after. So this is a summary of what we cover. So basically, no matter what tools you're going to use, always identify information that is nested in an XML or HTML document. And you need to download documents, parse, and then you need to develop the queries, extract information, and save information. So the Google Sheet is really easy to use and simple process. And then the behind this, I mean, there are lots of things going on in behind the scene, but they don't show you. So if it's something simple, I really recommend to use Google Sheet. But if a little complicated, then like the Python and R are most suitable. And then Yarno and I, we want to do something more advanced or intermediate level next year. So if you want to do that, then let me know. And then here is my contact information. So as a librarian, my job is really to help you anything. So if you have any questions about web scraping, or if you want to do certain thing, then you don't know how, please contact me, and then I'm really happy to do that.
The exercise and answer sheet are blocked.
Okay, let me figure it out right after this workshop right away. So.
Yeah.
And then again, please, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yeah, and I'll share
then-
the slides afterwards to everybody that's
Mhm.
registered, and I'll also make sure the recording goes online so you can
Yeah.
review this whole thing. And thanks a lot to you, Young, for presenting all this data and this way for getting into web scraping. It's really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jana, for giving me an opportunity to really. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, to be
And
continued.
then for exercise 3, I'm gonna configure it right after this workshop. I promise. Okay, so thank you so much, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.